back to D.C. we go, and the Minnesota Gopher head coach Richard Pitino now addressing the media.
Because I feel like we've got the most complete team that I've had since we've been there, the most talented team and the most depth. So we obviously know the Big Ten's one of the best conferences in all of college basketball, but I think this team will be ready for it, and I know they're excited to get going. Questions?
Thank you, Coach. We'll open it up. Let's go second row on the aisle.
Marcus Fuller, Star Tribune again. Coach, can you just talk about a little bit about the Timberwolves and influence they had over you? I know you stopped by Tom Thibodeau's practice a couple times this year and picked up some defensive drills.
Yeah, I went their first practice because I've known Coach Thibodeau for a little while from back in Boston. And, you know, people sometimes think that the NBA guys don't teach the fundamentals or whatever, and that's not accurate. And I was blown away by just how good of a practice he runs. You know, defensively, obviously great, but also offensively. And, you know, it was such a good practice. I asked him, can I come back again tomorrow? And he said yes. So it's always nice having that partnership with them. And, you know, to have somebody to bounce some ideas off is something I don't take for granted. And, you know, I know he'll do an awesome job with them. They got a really good young core, so I know they're excited about it. I know all the fans are excited. So I'm looking forward to watching them, seeing how they grow, because they got a lot of really good young talent. And I know Tibbs will do an awesome job with them.
Questions, front row on the aisle.
Dave Jones.
We could ask you to stand. Thank you.
Dave Jones from Penn Live in Philadelphia. I'm curious if the player problems you had last year, you're a young coach, did you learn any overarching lessons from what happened, what you could have done, how you handled them, or was it just random chaos?
Well, I hope it wasn't random chaos. But, yeah, you learn. You know, I think every season you take you know, you reflect on how you handled everything. You know, are you educating them? You know, when a guy gets in trouble, certainly you've got to educate, but also you've got to look and say, what are we doing? Are we doing everything we possibly can do from a culture standpoint? And we looked ourselves in the mirror. I looked myself in the mirror and said, okay, we got to get better. And I think we had a great summer. I think our guys understand all that goes into being a college athlete. And I think they know that, you know, we're all connected together, and I think they all grew from it, and I obviously grew from it as well. And I think I'm, as tough as last year was, I think I'm a better coach because of it. And you know, I think our staff learned a lot, and you know, I think it's going to be a valuable lesson for everybody.
Any additional questions for Coach Pitino? Let's go second row on the aisle again.
Marcus Fuller, Star Tribune. Coach, can you talk about Jordan Murphy and his emergence last year? I know he's the first sophomore to represent the Gophers here in a while. What are expectations for him this year?
I think he's got a chance to be one of the better forwards in the conference. You know, I mean, he was just a freshman last year, and there was times he was one of the better players on the court. You know, he is playing extremely confidently. You know, he was very, very productive last year as a freshman. Normally you don't see freshmen do that. I think he's now starting to understand where to get his points. You know, he's become very difficult to guard on the low block. You know, obviously he's rebounded at a very, very high rate. I think he was second in the conference in double-doubles. So, you know, somebody like that is somebody you can really, really build around. He wants to win, you know, loves the game, lives in the gym. So I think he's going to be a load, and I think he'll be one of the better forwards in our conference, and he's obviously just a sophomore, so that's exciting for me.
All the way in the back of the room on the aisle.
Mike Grimm, Minnesota News Network. Coach, what impact will the injury to Devontae Fitzgerald have? And just talk about the impact of the injury from a personal standpoint for him, too, and what he's gone through.
Yeah, I mean, it was, injuries are always tough, but that one was especially tough because, he had a really good freshman year at Texas A&M. Then he tore his ACL, I believe, towards the end of the year. Really fought hard to come back. Wasn't quite himself that sophomore year at Texas A&M. And, transfers to us, sits out, lives in the gym. I mean, probably the biggest gym rat on the team. And then in practice, he goes down. And as a coach, you try to calm your players down when there's an injury. And he just looked up at me and said, I've had 2 of these. I know it's another one. And that was a bit demoralizing. I called him that night, and he didn't answer, and he texted me back. And the first thing he said was, and this was weird for young people, he just said, Coach, I want to thank you so much for letting me be a part of this, and I'll come back stronger than ever. So he has not felt sorry for himself. I've almost felt more sorry for myself than he has. He's almost encouraged me at times. So I think it shows you what type of person he is. From a basketball standpoint, he was going to be a big part. There was lineups I was excited about playing of a point guard who may have been 6'2", 6'3", a 2 guard 6'7", Devontae 6'8", forward 6'8", and a center 6'10". I mean, that's a big lineup. So he provided a lot of versatility. He provided a lot of flexibility for me. He could play the 3 and the 4. So it's a little bit of a hit for us from a basketball standpoint. But hopefully if we stay healthy, I think we'll be okay with that. But more than anything, I feel sorry for the kid because he does everything right. He just works his butt off. So hopefully he'll be back next year and be stronger than ever.
Still have time for 1 or 2 more questions if anybody has them. All right, seeing none, thank you, Coach. Good luck.
Thank you.